Indiana Fever fans were chanting, "Sophie, Sophie."
In a game where Caitlin Clark was getting hacked left and right, and the refs did nothing, fans were screaming one thing, do something. And Sophie Cunningham, she understood the assignment in a game where Caitlin Clark was getting hacked nonstop while the refs stood by in silence. Fans had one message, do something, and Sophie Cunningham, she got the memo loud and clear.
Going coast to coast. And here's we got another.
In a moment that's now gone absolutely viral, Sophie Cunningham didn't just send a message to JCS Sheldon. She didn't just send a message to the Connecticut Sun. She sent a message to the entire WNBA. Don't mess with Caitlin Clark. Teams are going to have to think twice about messing with Caitlin Clark again. And while fans are absolutely losing it over how Caitlin Clark was attacked on the court with no real consequences, from the refs, they finally got what they've been begging for, Enforcer A. Protector, someone who's not afraid to step in and send a message out of the ashes of a dumpster fire of officiating a star, was born in one moment. Sophie didn't just offend her teammate. She lit the spark that could change the entire tone of the Fever season.
Teams are going to have to think twice about messing with Caitlin Clark again.
We're already seeing the impact. Within 48 hours of that game, Sophie's name is everywhere. The clips are viral, the fans are fired up, and the tone has changed because this is no longer Fever versus the league. It's Caitlin versus the world, and Sophie just became her undisputed bodyguard. And here's the wild part, that one moment could make Sophie millions, no exaggeration. We're already seeing the signs. Let's get into it. But first, like this. Video drop a boxing glove in the comments if you appreciate it.
They didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom.
Wow.
There's no denying that the Fever's game against the Sun was a new low for the WNBA. The critiques about the officiating have been around forever. Kelsey Plum was literally in tears recently talking about how she prays for it to get better. But what happened against the Sun made it abundantly clear it's open season on Caitlin Clark. And the refs aren't going to do a thing about it. There's no denying it. The Fever's game against the Sun marked a new low for the WNBA. Criticism of the officiating isn't new. It's been building for years. Kelsey Plum was even brought to tears recently, admitting she prays for things to improve. But what went down against the Sun made one thing crystal clear. It's open season on Caitlin Clark, and the refs are just letting it happen.
When they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs.
JCS Sheldon went after the literal face of the league. And then in the chaos that followed Marina, Mabry body checked Caitlin to the court. It was like Dane Carrington and Kennedy Carter had somehow cloned themselves and re-entered the game as a tag team. And the other angles of the play made it crystal clear it was even more egregious than it looked in real time. JCS Sheldon took a shot at the literal face of the league. And in the chaos that followed, Marina Mabry straight up body checked Caitlin. Clark to the floor. It felt like the spirit of Dejanai Carrington and Chindy Carter had cloned itself and jumped back into the game as a tag team. And when the other angles of the play surfaced, it became painfully obvious. It was even worse than it looked live.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
Ooh, and Marina Mabry. I missed that one, Edona.
There's no way this would happen to Steph or LeBron without consequences. The commentators were shocked that Marina wasn't tossed with a body check. And here's the kicker, Caitlin Clark is way more important to WNBA right now than Steph or LeBron are to the NBA. That's not a hot take. That's just the reality. We saw what happened when Caitlin missed 5 games. There's no chance something like this would happen to Steph or LeBron without immediate consequences. Even the commentators were stunned that Marina wasn't ejected after that blatant body check. And here's the kicker. Right now, Caitlin Clark is more crucial to the WNBA than Steph or LeBron are to the NBA. That's not a hot take. It's just facts. We all saw the difference when Caitlin missed just 5 games. The numbers don't lie.
It made me think if this was LeBron in the NBA, think if this was Steph Curry in the NBA, do you really think that the NBA would be allowing certain players in the NBA to go after LeBron the way that Caitlyn was chucked to the ground, do you think if another player came up, blindsided LeBron, chucked him to the ground after he had just been poked in the eye, that the NBA would be like, oh yeah, technicals, nobody's ejected, just a common technical foul? That would never happen. It would never happen.
JC's swipe wasn't just careless, it was targeted. And Marina didn't just bump Caitlyn. She sent her flying. This kind of stuff would get flagged instantly in the NBA. But in the W, apparently it's just another Tuesday. And I will say, it was a bit disappointing, even though Lexi got in JC's face a bit. There wasn't a ton of pushback from the Fever on the court, especially from Stephanie White. Now she absolutely redeemed herself in the press conference. But in the moment, fans were begging for her to go. Full Bobby night and launch a chair, which, let's be honest, would have been an incredible visual given that night coach Indiana. And before anyone starts with the Caitlyn's being soft narrative, just stop. JC's swipe wasn't just reckless. It was targeted. And Marina didn't just bump Caitlyn, she launched her. In the NBA, this kind of hit would have been an instant flagrant. But in the W, apparently it's just business as usual. And honestly, it was a little disappointing. Sure, Lexi had a few words for JC, but overall, there wasn't much of a response from the Fever on the court, especially from head coach Stephanie White. Now, to be fair, she totally redeemed herself in the post-game presser. But in the moment, fans were hoping she'd channel her inner Bobby Knight and hurl a chair across the floor, which, let's be real, would have been iconic given Knight's Indiana roots. And before anyone trots out the tire, Caitlyn's just soft take. Save it. That narrative's done.
Even as good as that rating was, Caitlin Clark's good for about 1 million extra viewers.
Many were already calling her the Fever's most underrated, signing the X factor that quietly makes everything work, the one who gives Caitlin Clark and the Fever the toughness, spacing, and leadership they need to actually take over the WNBA. And now we're watching that prediction play out in real time in a league that's turned personal fans versus the establishment Caitlyn versus the haters. One thing is clear, Caitlin Clark fans are fiercely loyal, and they are rallying behind anyone who defends her. Sophie Cunningham answered the bell loudly, publicly, perfectly, and now she's about to reap all the rewards. If you're still here, drop a basketball in the comments to say hi. Thanks for watching. Plenty of people were already calling her the Fever's most underrated pickup, the quiet X factor holding it all together. The one who brings Caitlin Clark and the Fever exactly what they need. Toughness, spacing, and veteran leadership to truly compete for WNBA dominance. And now, that prediction is unfolding right before our eyes in a league that's become deeply personal. Fans versus the system. Caitlyn versus the critics. One thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark fans are ride or die, and they're rallying hard behind anyone who has her back. Sophie Cunningham didn't just step up. She did it boldly, publicly, and flawlessly. And now, she's about to cash in big. If you're still with us, drop a basketball in the comments to say what's up, and thanks for watching.